This video was produced from the organization of 10 slides that will be presented. We will read what is written and the description of the images, as well as the translation of the written text into the sign language. First slide. In large letters, centralized black ink is written. Global overview organized by the World Federation of Deafblind People and the Sense International. One line below, in centralized black ink, is written. At risk of exclusion from the implementation of the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and the Sustainable Development Goals. In the next line, with red capital letters, is written Introduction. Second slide. At the top center, in red, is written a sequence of 8 videos will be presented. On the right side, there is a color photograph of 3 rows of tapes used in the cinema. 2 are on the floor and a third on the top of them. Further down, on the left side, is a color picture of a clapboard with nothing written on it. Next to it, in black centered ink, is Theme, Information of the document, a risk of exclusion from the implementation of CRPD and the SDGs, drawn up by the World Federation of Deafblind and consulted by Ellen Keller World Conference 2018 participants. Third slide. In the left corner is a colored image of a red 3D question mark being held by a white doll in the shape of a human figure. Next to it, in red ink, the acronym CDPD, and in black, Convention of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. One line below, in red ink, the acronym SDGs, and in black, 2030 Agenda about the Sustainable Development Goals. Fourth slide. An image with 3 color photographs appears at the top. In the first image on the left, there is a black man sitting next to a black woman. He talks on a sound amplifier so that she can hear. In the center image, there are 2 women sitting with a typewriter in the middle. The woman on the left writes, and the woman on the right receives the information that comes out at the back of the typewriter from the Braille system. In the image on the right, there are 2 men, one with dark skin that makes tactile sign language in the hands of a white man sitting in front of him. Right below, in centered black ink, is written, Women and men with deafblindness from all over the world were consulted to confirm the results and drawn up the recommendations of this report. At the bottom left is a color image of an analog clock with the small hand marking 10 hours and the large hand marking 10 minutes. Next to it, in red centered ink, is Date, Ellen Keller World Conference, June 2018. Fifth slide. On the top, in red ink centralized, it says, with searches by the World Federation of Deafblind. Below is a plus sign in blue. A line below, in black ink, centered, is written, Greater analysis of the deafblind population conducted so far, responses from 22 surveys in law, middle and high income countries. Below is a plus sign in blue. A line below in red ink centered is written. The academic literature review. Below is a plus sign in blue. A line below in black ink centered is written. The surveys were conducted by the WFDB and Sense International members and friends. Centralized on the right is a colored image with a blue background. In the center is a computer screen with a graphic being projected. On the left, there is a woman leaning on the screen, and in front, there is a man holding a magnifying glass almost its size and positioning on the graphic. Second slide. On the top left side is the colored image of a world map. The continents are highlighted in different colors and each one with its name written. The background is blue. Next to it, in red ink centered, is written, people with deafblindness represent between 0.2% and 2% of the global population. Right below, in black centralized ink, it says, between 20% and 75% of people with deafblindness have an associated disability. One line down in red ink centralized is written, they are more likely to live in poverty and jobless with results on education lower than other people with disabilities. Seventh slide. On the top left is a color picture of four people inside a picture pushing another person away. They are dolls and not real people. Next to it, in red paint centered, is written, people with deafblindness face multiple barriers. One line down and left in black ink, it says, lack of access to support services and accessible information. On the right is a color photograph of four hands showing that you are using sign language. The hands of the white person are underneath and the hands of the black person above. A line below in red ink centered is written, relative invisibility of deafblindness people. Right below, in black ink, justified, it says, it is a cause and a consequence of the lack of understanding on the part of the different actors of the rights of persons with disabilities and development in terms of broad and diverse issues as well as the relative visibility of the South African people of the specific requirements for inclusion. 8th slide. On the top left is a colored image of the WFDB symbol. In the center there is the globe with the parts of Earth represented in green and water in blue. Above the globe there are white lines horizontally and vertically. In the center there are two circles with a thick black line. Inside the first is the letter W and the second letter F. Around the globe is another circle in gray with the writing World Federation of Deafblind, WFDB in English. Next to it in red centered ink is Nordic definition of deafblindness. Two lines down in black ink justified it says, a unique disability generated by sensory impairment of such gravity that it is difficult to compensate the affected senses by interacting with environmental barriers. It affects social life, communication, access to information, orientation and ability. Encouraging inclusion and participation requires accessible measures and access to specific support services such as interpreter, guides, among other things. Ninth slide. On the top, in red ink, capital letters, centered, it says, people with deafblindness usually require support. Just below the left, in black ink, centered, is written, communication, with a blue arrow pointing to a colored image below. In it, there is a man and a woman dolls. On the top of his head, there are some scratches. On the top of her head, two rays, and between the two, a question mark. The right, in black ink, centered, is written, mobility, with two blue arrows pointing to two colored images that are below. On the left image are two dolls, one wearing sunglasses and a cane and holding the other person's elbow. In the image on the right, there is a guide dog carrying a person who uses a cane, but it is possible to see only two legs and the cane. At the bottom, left in black ink centered, is written description with a blue arrow pointing to a colored image that is on the right. In the image, two hands appear with the palms facing down, and on the top of each hand, an eye is drawn. The two hands are on a sheet of paper written in braille. 10th slide. On the top, in red centralized ink, it says, credits. Right below, in black ink, centralized, is written, created and edited by Fernanda Falkowski. Audio description script by Fernanda Falkowski. Spanish narration by Ximena Serpa. Portuguese translation by Shirley Maia. Portuguese narration by Fernanda Falkowski. English translation by Paulo Mota. English narration by Paulo Mota. Sign language translation by Renan Antonello.